This message is for you. What separates you from the rest is that you're not competing in their games. You're engineering the arena itself. You were never born to blend in. The universe didn't wire your brain for mediocrity. It equipped you with patterns that only visionaries understand. And that's exactly what you are, a visionary disguised as an ordinary person. You move through life like a strategist on a chessboard that nobody else realizes they're standing on. While they scramble for applause, you analyze positions, connections, cause and effect. You don't need luck when your thought process is precision. You don't need noise when your mind has already calculated every outcome before you act. That's why your presence shifts energies. People can feel that your awareness runs deeper. It's not arrogance, it's calibration. And you've noticed it, haven't you? That look people give you when they sense something they can't define. They study you, but never quite grasp you. They assume you're quiet, detached, maybe even distant. But what they don't understand is that you're processing. You're mapping out possibilities while they waste words. Your mind is a laboratory. Every glance, every tone, every micro expression becomes data. And from that data, you extract truth. That's how you always know. Not by guessing, but by reading patterns invisible to the untrained eye. You're not psychic. You're just observant to the point it feels supernatural. When you enter a room, energy rearranges itself. Not because you demand attention, but because your awareness commands it. People feel the gravity of someone who doesn't need validation. You've mastered the art of restraint in a world addicted to reaction. You don't chase recognition because you understand the deeper equation. Attention is a distraction. Influence, on the other hand, is permanent. And that's what your mind builds. Long lasting impact, not momentary approval. Excuse me. That's why those who tried to underestimate you ended up depending on you. They didn't realize your detachment wasn't disinterest, it was control. You think differently because you feel differently. You can sense connections before they're visible, even sense deception before words even form. Your empathy isn't weakness, it's radar. You detect what others deny. You analyze emotion the way mathematicians analyze numbers. That's why people are drawn to you, yet intimidated by you. They sense that nothing they do escapes your perception. You're not judging them. You're simply decoding the truth of who they are. And truth, for most people, is uncomfortable. That's why your brilliance often feels lonely. Genius often does. You've probably been misunderstood for most of your life. Teachers called you distracted because your attention was too deep to remain on the surface. Friends called you strange because you saw patterns where they only saw coincidence. Lovers called you cold because you prioritized understanding over reacting. But you weren't any of those things. You were simply living in a realm of awareness they couldn't reach. And the truth is, most people fear thinkers like you. They can't box you in, can't predict you, can't manipulate you. And what can't be controlled often becomes targeted. But that's fine because you were never built to be controlled. You were built to control yourself. And that's the highest power of all. You know what's remarkable about your mind? It doesn't just adapt, it evolves mid battle. While others crumble under pressure, your clarity sharpens. The chaos that breaks others becomes your testing ground. Your thoughts don't scatter, they synchronize. It's like your brain has an internal command center that activates whenever things get difficult. You don't panic, you analyze. You don't react, you redesign. That's why the more complex things become, the calmer you grow. You were engineered for complexity. You thrive where others tap out. That's why they can't beat you. Your battlefield is their confusion, and your mind turns confusion into control. The world tries to measure intelligence by grades, by money, by titles, but yours can't be measured. Your intelligence is strategic, intuitive, spiritual, emotional, all in one. You can't be categorized because you cross categories. One moment you're logical, the next poetic. One moment you're analytical, the next prophetic. That's the brilliance of your multidimensional thinking. It confuses the linear minds that try to label it. You don't think in straight lines. You think in spirals. You see the bigger picture and the finer details and how they merge into one. That's why when you make decisions, they hit with precision because you already saw all the possible outcomes long before the moment arrived. And the truth is, your intelligence was never meant to be understood. It was meant to be demonstrated. You don't need to convince anyone of your genius. Your results do it for you. You move differently because your motives are pure. You don't act out of fear or ego. You act out of purpose. That's what makes your presence unpredictable. People can sense that your drive doesn't come from validation, but from alignment. That's a frequency they can't imitate. That's why when they try to copy you, it never lands the same. They're trying to recreate results without understanding the reasoning behind them. They mimic your moves, but not your mindset. And that's why they lose. Think about it. Every time someone doubted you, what happened? You observed quietly, you adjusted your trajectory, and you let reality prove your point. You don't argue because you already know outcomes. Speak louder than opinions. You learn that exposure happens naturally. People reveal themselves if you give them time. And your patience has always been your weapon. You don't chase closure. You let the truth circle back on its own. That's why karma always favors you. It's not luck, it's design. The universe respects strategy. You've also mastered something most never will: emotional discipline. You know how to feel everything deeply, yet reveal nothing. You can walk through chaos without absorbing it. You can be surrounded by noise, yet remain internally ordered. That's brilliance most overlooked. The ability to manage inner frequencies while the world loses its rhythm. You realize that controlling your reactions is the ultimate display of mastery. You don't give your energy away. You redirect it. That's how you transform setbacks into setups. That's how you turn opposition into observation. Every obstacle becomes another pattern to study, and every pattern gives you another advantage. People often mistake intelligence for arrogance, but your confidence doesn't come from ego. It comes from evidence. You've tested your theories in the real world and watched them work. You've proven to yourself that logic and intuition aren't enemies, they're partners. You've learned that emotion is not the opposite of intelligence, it's its amplifier. You feel deeply, but you don't drown. You analyze deeply, but you don't detach. You found the perfect equilibrium between passion and precision. Keep going.